Yes, they're able to see the slide and you as well.
Okay, so let's begin. The workshop today, or the talk today, is about how to change your life. Can you go to the next slide, please? This is a little bit of an intro of myself. I currently work for a company called Dow Capital, which is a Kuwait-based venture capital fund, but all our activity is in the United Kingdom and America. So we've invested in early stage startup companies in the United Kingdom and America. Prior to that, I used to work for British Telecom. I used to head a Middle East and Africa region as head of strategy and business development. I've been advising a lot of family businesses within the Middle East region as well. Currently, I sit on the board of a number of very interesting startups in the UK, and some of them are really considered very disruptive companies in the world today. Why is that important? Because all of this is learning experience that I'm willing to share with you today in this short discussion. Can we go to the next slide, please? So these are 10 steps that can actually help you change your life. So what you need to do is you need to listen, understand, and begin to wonder what you can do about this and use these steps to change your life. Can we go to the next slide, please? So the first step, which is actually the most important step for anything that you want to do, is what matters is now. Why is that important? Because everyone is always so connected to the past. Whenever you meet somebody who's not doing well, somebody who's sad, somebody who's disappointed, somebody who's frustrated, they're always relating to something in the past. They're always talking about a failure, an event that happened in the past. Anything that happens in the past is supposed to stay in the past. That is why we have the concept of living in the future by starting today. But if you start living in the past, your concept of the future is completely lost. So let me help you quantify that. So let's assume today you're 20 years old, okay? You're 20 years old today. If you're 20 years old today, you would have finished 7,300 days in this world. So those 7,300 days is your past. And there's nothing that you can do or anyone can do that can change that. Any amount of details that happen, any amount of events that happen in those 7,300 days will continue to stay in your past, which means 175,200 hours of past. So if this was data that was being stored in your computer, on your mobile, you would have had video of 175,200 hours, which is considered past data. Now, if you stay connected to that, the problem that you will have is you cannot plan your future. Because you cannot plan your future, your today is completely confused. That's why one of the hallmark signs of people who are considered failures is people who decide to live in the past. What you need to do is put your past behind you. Why? Because if you don't put your past behind you, your tomorrow is approaching very, very fast. You will lose a lot. You will not know how to manage your tomorrow if you don't know how to leave your past. It's very simple as that. I've said this in one of my lectures, and I'll repeat it for you guys today, is that if you want to start your tomorrow today, you will be a day early. If you want to start your tomorrow today, you will be a day early. But if you continue to live in your past, you continue to moan and whine and feel sad and cry about the past. Oh, I lost this friend. Oh, I lost this relationship. Oh, I lost this business. Oh my God, I lost this job. It's your past. It's a lot of details that you don't need with you because this is how God has created you. God has created you to behave exactly the way you feel and the way you think. If you start to feel and think about the negativity of your past, then for you to embrace your future will become a challenge. So what matters is now, today, here, this moment. So whatever you need to do, you forget everything and you listen to this workshop talk arranged by AMP for you today very seriously. Because if you don't take advantage of such knowledge, And what will happen is you will continue to live a very fictitious life, which will not allow you to detail your future, which could be very, very successful. Okay, so step number one, what matters is now. What matters is today. Leave your past in the past. Can we go to the next slide, please? Step number two, everything changes. All right, you have to believe that everything changes. Do you know in history we have seen the people who fought World War I had certain amount of winners and victorious nations, and then all of a sudden we had World War II, which had completely different countries who won and completely different leaders and victorious parades, right? So in World War I, people lost, and in World War II, people gained, and it could be vice versa. So you need to understand everything changes. So if you're having a good day today, maybe it will not be good tomorrow. Similarly, if you're having a bad day today, maybe you will not have a bad day tomorrow. You need to believe that. Everything changes. Why? Because if you believe that your bad will stay with you forever, then what will happen is you will start sulking. And a sulking person cannot achieve success. You cannot produce anything called success. Your sulking situation gives you energy that sends you backwards. It does not send you forward. You need energy that can send you forward. So you need to believe that anything that's wrong in your life today, right now, right this moment, that may be from your past, by the way, will change. If you don't believe that, why on earth will it change? Do you know that most people attend job interviews thinking they will never get a job? And guess what? They never get a job because it's all on their face, right? You need to show that you want to achieve. You need to believe that things can change. And you cannot forsake the mercy of Allah. You can never do that. You should always believe that He will always be merciful to you. You would always believe that He will always give what you want, as long as it is good for you. Now, you need to believe everything will change. The good may change to bad, and the bad will, inshallah, change to good. Now, let's go to step number 3. Shazak, can we move to step 3? Everyone has bad days, right? Most people think when they're going through a bad time that they are the only people who are going through something which is not good. They think that this whole world is falling apart right on top of their heads. You're wrong. There are millions and billions of people in this world who are going through their share of bad days. There are billionaires who are having a bad time. There are millionaires who are having a bad time. There are people on the streets who are having a bad time. There are people with authority who are having a bad time. There are people without authority having a bad time. Everybody gets their share of bad days. You need to believe that. But what you need to do is keep focus when you have your bad days. Because if you don't keep focus, what you lose is what you will never gain again, which is time. The time that you have when your days are bad is very important to you. Why? Because you get to learn a lot, right? Everybody says you know your real friends when you don't have money. Why is that? Because that's when you know when people really connect to you. That's when you know who you can count on, who has your back, right? So you need to be very, very prepared in your bad days. When your bad days are around, this is when you start to prepare more. Always remember, in World War II, there were 2 countries who lost everything, Germany and Japan. They lost everything. Japan was literally annihilated from the face of the earth, right? Massive bombs dropped over the country, and big cities, massive cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, were completely taken off. Do you know what Japan is today? It's an economic giant. Do you know who Germany is today? It's an economic giant. How is that? Because they use their bad times, their bad experiences to prepare to be successful. So if you're going through bad days, stop sulking. Stop waiting for people to help you. Go help yourself. Start deciding what you need to do and how you're going to do it. That's how you're going to succeed. Germany did not wait for the whole world to come and help it. Japan did not wait for people to come and support it. They did it all by themselves. That's what you need to do. So step 3, everyone has bad days, but some of those who have bad days, come out of it, and have great days. Can we go to the next slide, please? Shahzad, next slide, please. Step number 4, one step at a time. Sometimes some of you get very excited, right? Whenever you have a good idea, great idea, everything pops up at the same time. Everybody's having their eureka moment. It's not a multiple moment thing. You have so many ideas, it's a gazillion ideas. The problem is you need to focus at one thing at a time. If you're not focused at one thing at a time, nothing seems to work. You need to understand the joy is in the details. Successful people always have enough time to work on individual details. They work in a train kind of mechanism. They work in compartments. Everything has to be ready for the train to move ahead. You're not supposed to think about ahead until all the compartments are stacked up. Most of you spend a lot of time getting very excited very early, and unfortunately, what you meet is failure. You need to make sure every step of your plan is ready. You need to make sure that every step of your plan is prepared, and you need to make sure that you are ready to take that step at the right time. That is how you will move ahead. So if you have a plan to succeed, make sure the plan has details and make sure it's one step at a time. So like I've said in my slide, if you need to reach the peak of the mountain, the top of the mountain, where do you start? You start from ground. You need to take your first steps before you reach the mountain, right? So you need to understand your first steps before you go up to the top of the mountain are as important as that last cling that takes you to the peak of the mountain and you say, I have conquered. If you wish to conquer, focus on the first steps first. So one step at a time. Shahzad, can we move to the next slide, please? Step number 5, make a plan, not goals. Everybody is very interested in the larger picture. I want to have a successful business. I want to have a great life. I want to have a wonderful job that pays me a lot of money and a lot of bonuses, and I get a beautiful Mercedes as a car that my company gives me. Don't do that to yourself. Set your plan correctly. If you want that job with that big Mercedes, you need to prepare for the interview first. Oh, guess what? Before the interview, you need to have your credentials in order. Oh, guess what? Before you have your credentials in order, you need to prepare your personality to attend such large interviews, right? So you need to do all of this as part of your planning. Dreaming about goals only takes you fast forward. You don't need to go far ahead. If you go far ahead, you miss out on the details. And because you miss out on the details, you will meet failure. So keep your energy as part of a dynamic part of your life, which means that you are focused on every detail at all times. So make plans and not just goals. Don't think about getting rich. Think about how. If you want to be a millionaire, think about an idea, one idea, which 1 million people are willing to pay $1 for. So what happens when 1 million people pay you $1 each? You become a millionaire, right? So the plan has to be clear, and then the goals. Goal is to be a millionaire, but there is a plan. So that's how you need to do. Make a plan and not just live the moment with a goal. Shahzad, can we move to the next slide, please? Step number 6. Now, this is a very important slide. Everybody needs to pay very good attention to that. Accept your failures. Don't give excuses. Every time I have met entrepreneurs who are trying to explain why they fail, they always blamed it on economy. They blamed it on their other founders, co-founders. They blamed it on the investors. They blamed it on technology. They blamed it on aliens coming out of space, for God's sakes. But they did not blame themselves. You have to understand, God has created you in 3 layers. He's given you a body, which has all the parts, right? Your hands, your legs, your eyes, your ears, your mouth, your nose, all of that. And then he's given you a spirit, a soul, ruh, right? Now that keeps you all alive. Now there is one more thing he's given you, which controls everything. It's called your brain. So your brain controls everything in your body. Imagine you walked into a public space, there's a party, and you walked in, and there are so many people you don't know. Do you think your right hand will just go up to people and start shaking hands and you don't know this guy? Never. Do you think your right hand will start slapping people out of its own? Never. Your brain has to give it instructions to say, Mr. Right Hand, go and shake hands with Idris because he's a friend. And then it goes out there and shakes hands. So your brain is always in control. So when you fail, you have to know that you gave the decision to the brain to do certain activities, certain tasks that did not work, that failed. Hence, you are the failure. Until and unless you understand and believe that you have failed, your body will keep reacting exactly what you wanted to do, which is deny failure. And you start living in denial. The minute you live in denial, that will go on and climb on until your body will get used to blaming your failure on somebody else. You'll blame it on your mom, your dad, your sisters, your brothers, your husband, your wife, your friends, your colleagues, your countrymen. You can't. Why? Because successful people never do that. Successful people accept their failure and move on because they have a brain, a system that is used to accepting reality. Successful people always accept reality. They do not change the script of facts. And the fact is that you have failed. Accept it. Move on. There's nothing wrong about it. I failed tremendous times in my life. Nothing sad about it. Nothing shameful about it. Why should I be ashamed of? I failed. So did billions others. Guess what? Michael Jordan, the big basketball player you guys know, he has lost 300 or more games in his life. So what, is he a failure? No, he's a superstar. He's a basketball icon. He's a sports legend, for God's sakes. Why? Because he accepted failure. If you want to succeed, if you want something in life, accept your failure today. If you did that, your brain will be programmed never to hide from reality. And it will always tell you that this is my fact, that I am a failure. And when you succeed, it will also tell you, this is my fact, I am successful. So recently, for example, when Amir ran for elections and he participated in elections, what he tried to do is he tried to demonstrate the reality of the fact that we minority need to participate in the political scene of the country. Because if we don't, then we are left out. Then someone else takes decisions for us. So his success or failure was not the objective. The objective was participation. So you need to understand that sometimes failure is what you need to have a message, and then success comes right behind it. People who plan have details. You may see the end, but there's nothing called end for the people who plan. They always have a sequence after it. Sometimes the script you know is a little different than the script that you have. So people who are used to accepting failures will always have a script to go through failure and then reach success. Shehzad, can we go to the next slide, please? Oh, this slide I really love, right? Everybody I talk to when they come to me for advice and they say, hey, Abdallah, can you give us an advice or a suggestion on what we need to do in our life? How can we change our life? Well, the first thing you need to do when you want to change your life, the first thing is move out of your comfort zone. Don't do the same things over and over again. Because if you do the same things over and over again, it's a loop. It's a loop. You keep going in the same place and you don't move ahead. Because you don't move ahead, you begin to feel frustrated, and then you begin to be very negative. But if you want to move ahead, you need to do new things. You need to meet new people. Most of you have the same friends for 50 years, for God's sakes. And then you wonder why things are not changing. They're not changing because you're talking to the same people. They're not changing because you refuse to change your habits. They're not changing because you refuse to add a new skill to you. They're not changing because you're scared. Why? Because you're so happy in your comfort zone. You're very happy being assistant manager. But every end of the year, when there is a review by HR and you want to be manager and you're not, you hate it. And the guy who gets appointed as manager, you hate him too. But guess what? You didn't do nothing to show yourself. You kept your head down and you kept working hard for as long as you did. Guess what? Hard work gets you nowhere. If you didn't know that, take it from me today. Hard work gets you nowhere. What gets you somewhere is vision. That's why Allah has given you eyes and a brain to think. Have a vision for yourself. Believe that you can go and be something else. Stop being in your comfort zone. You should know that there is chances that you will fail. And guess what? There are very few chances where you will succeed. But if you succeeded, that's when your comfort will get bigger and you will achieve more things in life. Experiencing new things, new challenges, new risks maximizes your chances of success. It does not lower it. People who stick to their comfort zone stay where they are. Countries have moved ahead because they have moved out of their comfort zone. Korea, at the World War II, was a country that was known for very little. It did not even have a history or a legacy of being an automobile or electronic giant country, right? Today, Korea is an electronic giant, right? Samsung comes from Korea. LG comes from Korea. Kia Motors comes from Korea. Hyundai Cars comes from Korea. Guess what? I used to work for Hyundai in 1996, 98, and we used to sell Hyundai cars by saying to people, to customers, buy Hyundai because it has a Mitsubishi engine. Buy Hyundai cars because it has a Mitsubishi engine. The Korean giant, automobile giant, decided to move out of its comfort zone, take its own technology, build its own technology. Guess where they are today and guess where Mitsubishi is? You all know that. You need to move out of your comfort zone. You need to take chances. You need to believe in yourself. Don't tell me Allah has made you in this world just to sit in your comfort zones. Take your chances. You're not comfortable doing new things, start doing them. Stop, even when you do charity, right? And I've seen this so many times. What is the most comfortable thing to do in charity? Give money. Abdullah is raising a charity drive for the poor. Give Abdullah money. No, come with Abdullah and visit the slums. Come with Abdullah and go deliver the charity units and then see what you experience. Try to understand poverty. Try to understand desperation. Try to understand them. And that's when you will know what you're doing. That's when your comfort to do good will get bigger. Everything is about moving out of your comfort. Everything in life is about moving out of your comfort. So this slide, for everyone that is watching and attending this today, is very important. Move out of your comfort zone. Don't spend any time. And there's no good time as now, as today, as this moment for you to do it. I don't care if you're 18. I don't care if you're 28. I don't care if you're 98 years old. I invite you, as I invite myself, to move out of your comfort zone now. Shehzad, next slide, please. Take more risk, right? Once you move out of your comfort zone, what are you going to do? You're going to take more risk. What is the concept of risk? Concept of risk is there's a pro and there's a con. You should know that. Remember when I told you that you have to program your brain to accept failure and success? So accept the cons as you accept the pros. When you do a business plan, when you want to change your life, when you make a new relationship, there's going to be a good side and there's going to be a bad side. I quite don't understand when young boys and girls want to get married and when they meet each other, they ask all the right questions, right? They always say, what's the place that you want to visit when you want to go on a holiday? And the girl says Paris, for example. She asks the guy, which is the actor that you follow? And he says Shah Rukh Khan. And she said, oh, I like him too. And then he says, okay, what would you like to call our kids' names when we have kids? For God's sakes, you're going to get married. Why are you asking people questions that are so comfortable? And start asking questions that are not comfortable, because then you will expose that person to something called risk. And when that person is willing to accept your risk-prone approach, that is when your chances of success in that relationship and understanding in that relationship is very high. Learn to take more risks. We people are not used to risks. And that is why we have a problem in achieving success. That is why we are so frustrated, sad, and miserable, because we're always looking at others achieving things, and we give them names, right? We call them brown nosers, we call them blue-eyed boys. Excuse me, that brown noser and blue-eyed boys achieved success and you haven't. I'm not asking anybody, and I'm not propagating to anyone to brown nose anyone, but I'm saying be out there, be visible, show yourself, take more risks. If you're not going to take more risks, how is your boss going to know you're around? You're one of the 1,000 people working in the company. Anytime the boss asks you for something, you do it, and you do it on time. But guess what? That's your job. That's why you're paid a salary, right? How will you promote yourself? You need to show yourself, which means you need to go back to that boss and say, hey, boss, I have an idea. Would you like to listen to it? So this guy is surprised. He says, whoa, okay. First time this person walks up to me and says, I have an idea. Why not listen to that idea? Show yourself. Present yourself. Think out of the box. Take more risks. Anybody giving you an offer saying, you know, there is a win-win deal. There is no win-win deal in this world. There is no win-win deal in this world. If anybody tells you that there is a win-win situation, someone always has to lose. And you need to realize that. And sometimes for you to gain, you have to lose something. When I go to negotiate, the first thing I want to know in my head is, what am I willing to lose? I'm not interested in knowing what I'm willing to gain, because anything good is happy, right? Anything gained is good. So why should I think about it? I should think about, what am I going to lose in this? And am I happy losing it? If I am, let me go ahead and negotiate. So learn to take more risks. With risks, you will grow. And stop complaining about people who are successful, even if they are your enemies. They're successful. That's it, period. Don't say that person is bad because that person is not someone you like. Learn to focus on yourself. Spending time on others is a total waste of time. That's why backbiting is against the religious belief. What is the one thing Allah cannot save you from? Allah can forgive all your sins, right? He cannot forgive the sins that you have done while speaking bad about others, because that is the right of that other person to forgive you. So why are you spending time blaming this person and that person and creating fake news and fake stories about some political party and some political leader, some businessman, some movie star, some singer, some sports person, some friend of yours, some colleague of yours, some boss of yours? You're wasting your time. Rather, spend time taking risks on yourself, on your bet. Start betting on yourselves, and then you will see how much chances you have for success. Shehzad, can you go to the next slide, please? Everything is about paying attention. If you don't pay attention, nothing comes to you. You should learn to observe. You should know when to listen, and you should always practice. Do you know that most of you do not observe? You just listen. I was just giving a lecture in the University of Greenwich in London, and I was telling them at the start of my lecture, I said, when I was your age, which means these kids were around 19 or 20, 21 years. And I said, when I was your age, which is in probably 1981, 86, somewhere around that time, I said there was a time when I used to watch a cricket match on radio, because I used to listen to the commentary. So I used to listen to the commentary, and I used to actually imagine everything, and I used to see an entire cricket game while listening to the commentator. Then came a time when we got a black and white TV, and I could see the match being played, and I could imagine the emotion in my heart, and I could feel the hit of every six and every four and every wicket and every run out. I was so connected. And when we got the color TV, what did I do? I started learning all the shots. I started learning how to swing the ball. When I watched a football match, a soccer game, I started learning the bicycle kick, the diving header, the slides and everything. And today, the young kids, the generation of today, when you make them watch a movie, they get no idea what the hell is happening. And it's all in full color with the best technology there is. Why? Because their minds are very busy having 50 million thoughts at the same time. Remember what I told you. I told you, focus on one thing at a time. If you're there to watch a movie, just watch the movie. Don't think about what your boss said. Don't think about what your friend said. Don't think about what your mother said. Watch the movie. when you do a task, any task, personal or professional, it has to be serious. And the only way to make it serious is for you to get serious about it. If you went fishing, enjoy fishing. If you went for a walk, think about good health. If you went to play a game, think about the plan of the game. And if you went out for a walk with your wife or your husband, enjoy the moment. Don't think about anything else. You need to observe everything that you have carefully. That's how you give it importance. And then you need to listen. The problem these days is most people don't want to listen. They have so many opinions, right? That's why WhatsApp is always flooded with opinions. Facebook is flooded with opinions. Anyone who does not have an opinion also has something to say. So every time you think about saying something, why don't you spend that time trying to listen to others, trying to understand? When your mouth is shut and your ears are open, the chances of your brain registering something is very high. When your mouth is open and your ears are shut, what are you doing? Your brain is not listening to anything. You're just talking. And it's using vocabulary that you have. And most of the time, it is related to an emotion that you wish to express, where you want to prove a point. Don't do that. At whatever age, listening to someone who's more experienced than you is a good thing. It's not going to make you lesser, even if it's from your enemy. And advice from your enemy is better than a joke from a friend, because the joke from a friend is just going to make you laugh. The advice from your enemy is going to make you think. I want you to think about that, guys, because most of us live lives having this bad guy and this good guy. Stop doing that. Listen to everybody. Listen to everybody, but do what you think is right, right? I always tell people when I'm coaching them for football, young kids, I say, listen, I'm going to teach you this and I'm going to teach you that. This is how you kick the ball. This is how you score a goal. But what you do on the pitch is your business, because what you do is your set of actions, and your set of actions will decide whether you will succeed or not. So you need to know how to listen. And then finally, you need to practice. Because you all think that I can pick up something like that. You know, we get used to this famous joke among all us friends. Oh, exam, I used to study in the last 1 week. Oh, an exam, I used to study in the last 10 days. Oh, an exam. It's all nice, but guess what? Stop making that into a culture, because the next generation is actually thinking this is how success is achieved. It's not. I don't care if you learn for 7 days, but you spend 7 days only learning. Your fear to fail made you study. If you did that earlier in the year, you would have achieved much higher grades. But you just wanted to pass. Guess what? You just passed. That's what you wanted. You got it. So don't propagate that as something which is a successful behavior. It's not. It's a behavior that's used by people who are called opportunists. If you want to be an opportunist, you can never be successful. That is why practice makes perfect. When Sachin scores 20,000 runs, it's not because he got lucky, because he kept practicing forever. When Maradona became an icon, it's because he practiced forever. Cristiano Ronaldo at his age today plays better than a 19-year-old. Why? Because he practices. You need to practice. Most of us do not practice. We have to practice. If you want to be a good Muslim, practice the religion. Don't talk about it. If you want to be a good businessman, practice your art. Don't just keep talking about it. If you want to be good at your work, keep practicing more than what you know. If you're a secretary, start learning how to do slides. If you know how to do PowerPoint slides, start learning how to do Excel. If you know how to do Excel, start making short videos. Learn more skills. AMP has a huge drive for skills. It's about time that you guys use those skills to uplift yourself. Always remember, government, central or state or regional, are not going to come to your house and say, excuse me, sir, can you please come with me because I want to give you a skill to be successful? And neither is AMP going to do that. AMP is going to give you access. AMP is going to give you a platform. What you do with it is what matters. So the responsibility is with you. So you need to observe, you need to listen, and then you need to practice. Because if you don't practice, you will never master the game. And if you don't master the game, guess what? You're out of the game. And people who are out of the game are the losers. While our country keeps talking about how big we are in technology, the reality is we're way away from it. We need to be much further ahead. We as Muslims today in India, we capture almost 14, if not more, % of the population. Why don't we think about contributing 14% to the economy? Why aren't we thinking about ideas of how Muslims can contribute 14% of India's economy? Why are we disappointed and blaming the government of the day, saying, hey, you said 7%, now it's 3.5%. Well, the question is back to you, Mr. Muslim friend of mine. The question is back to me. What are we doing about it? How are we going to change this? So the idea is to get out of our comfort zones and start looking at something bigger, and then working on a plan and not just a goal. That's how we will get somewhere. That's how we will reach something. And that's how we will be, inshallah, successful. Shazad, next slide, please. Actions speak louder than slides. So the reason why I said slides is because this is especially for my entrepreneurs, brothers and sisters. You always come with slides and you show your slides that this is my business idea, Mr. Abdullah, Mr. Asif, whoever, please invest in my idea. Well, how am I going to invest in your idea? Because it does not make any sense. Someone taught you in some incubator, some accelerator, that the one thing that gets you money from an investor is a good pitch. Well, the investor is not a fool. He's not at your doorstep and you're knocking on his door saying, hello, I'm selling you a shampoo today, which is like Head and Shoulders, feels like Head and Shoulders, but costs lesser. Don't be that door-to-door salesman. Be an entrepreneur, which means be a businessman. Don't be just about slides. I want to see who you are. I want to know that you have the ability to deliver, that you are actually bigger than your promise. You know, have you heard of the concept of elephant in the room? That's how you should be. You should be bigger than your promise. Most of you are all about the promise. Why? Because you want to get past that. This is the one reason why the economy of the country is not going ahead. We don't believe in quality. Travel the trains, travel the buses, travel the planes. Why is everything a mess? What has the government of India got to do with that? This is all us. We contribute to that because our actions speak louder than our words. We just want people to be better. We want the country to get somewhere, but we don't want to participate in that. We want to keep our streets dirty. We want to keep our seats dirty. We want to keep our offices dirty. And then we talk about actions. We need actions. You need actions, my friend. I suggest you start doing actions yourself today. Because if you don't change the way you are, you will never change the person you will be. You will continue to be that. If we Muslims in India want to change, let me ask you one question. When are you going to change? When are you going to change? Like Amr said before the start of this lecture, that's been more than 10 years that AMP is waving its flag in front of you to say, hey guys, I'm here to help. Are you ready to take the help? Yes, some of you have got jobs. Yes, some of you have acquired skills, but it's about time we use those skills and those jobs to change who we are. Allah will not change the situation of a person or a people who are not willing to change it themselves. Ayah from the Quran. So your actions should speak louder than your words. Your promise is not enough. I need your actions to be bigger than your promise. And if you want to do that, you need a few things in your personality. Number one, honesty. Stop this casual behavior of lying. You go to job interviews, you lie. You go to raise money as an entrepreneur, you lie. You talk about jokes that never happened and you lie. You tell your parents lies. You tell your spouse lies. You tell your kids lies. You tell everybody lies because it gets you away. You're programming your brain, remember? With what? Lies. And it's believing it. It's living that experience. You need to stop that. You need to be an honest person. And then what you need to be after you're honest, You need to be dedicated to what you're doing. And then you need to be sincere. And guess what? If you're honest, dedicated, and sincere, a flood will come in you, which is called passion. And that passion will drive you towards success. And guess what? If you're ethical, if you have ethics in your life, if you're a person that someone can show his back to, then that is the person everybody wants. Always remember, the Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was known for his honesty by his enemies as his followers, known for his honesty. Ask yourself, are you known for your honesty? Or are you known for giving excuses? Are you known for saying half lies? Are you known for saying white lies? Some of us call them white lies, right? They're lies, not white lies. They're lies. Start being honest. Start having ethics that you can follow and your kids can follow too. That's when you have the chance to succeed. If your actions and if your behavior and your personality is not that of a successful person, how will you be successful? If you want change in your life, it's change that you need to bring in your life. Once more, if you want change in your life, it's change that you need to bring in your life. It's not AMP, it's not me, it's not anybody else. It's you who need to bring that change. And if you're willing to bring that change, we all are here to help you. We all are here to hold your hand and take you across that bridge. But you need to do that. You need to put that effort and you need to take it to the next level. If we guys decide to contribute 14% of who we are to the Indian economy, to the global marketplace, everything that you call a problem today will not be a problem. Always remember, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companions asked him whether the Ummah will be doomed because we will be poor or lesser in number, he said, no, we will not be lesser in number when we are doomed, and we will not be poor when we will be doomed. So it's not wealth that is going to make you. It's not numbers that is going to make you. What is going to make you is you, which is your honest behavior, your dedicated behavior, your sincere effort, and true passions that are driven by ethics that everybody can swear by. Everybody, man, woman, child, Muslim, non-Muslim, everybody. That's when you will be successful. That's when you will change your life. If this session was about you coming today and listening to me to change your life, I invite you, I seriously do invite you to change your life and change it for the better. Because when you get better, everybody around you, everything around you gets better. Shehzad, next slide, please. So one more time, let's just run through this and then we can do a little Q&A. So what matters is now. Don't live in your past. Stop connecting your past as the reason why you cannot go ahead. I already told you that if you're 20 years old today, you have already passed 7,300 days behind you. You're past 175,200 hours behind you. There's a big life ahead of you. There's a big life ahead of you. Stop living in the past. Live today and live for the future. Plan for the future. Everything changes. Anything good will be bad and everything bad can go good. You need to know that. You need to believe that. You need to construct that into your head and tell your brain that everything bad today will go good. And everybody has a bad day. You have a bad day, I have a bad day. Everybody has a bad day. You're not the only one. Stop sulking. Stop blaming yourself and others. Just live through that moment and go ahead. One step at a time. Plan. Don't just dream. Plan. Plans have details. Even if you want to rob a bank, you need a plan. Right? You don't just go into the bank and say, give me your money. Yeah, well, he's going to give you something more, which is called policeman, jail time, and your life in misery. So plan. Don't just think about goals. Go one step at a time. Like I said, if you want to reach the top of the mountain, you need to begin from the bottom of the mountain, which is ground where you're standing now. And that you need to start working. Just imagine if you wanted to climb the mountain and an hour before the climbing session, you got a muscle pull. Can you climb the mountain? You can't. So what do you need to do? You need to keep yourself fit. You need to make sure that every detail of your plan to climb that peak of the mountain is correct and you're prepared for it. So have a plan, not just goal. Accept failures. You will fail. Yes, this is a fact. You fail. Yes, this is a fact. You have failed? Yes, this is a fact. Tell your brain that. There's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing shameful about it. Failure is the reason why you need to catapult yourself to success. Failure is your board that pushes you to success. Accept failure. Move out of your comfort zone, because your comfort is your weakness. Your comfort is stopping you from being successful. Take more risk. Risk is where the gray is. Risk is where you will find color. Once you enter gray, that's when you'll find color. Stop looking at other people's success stories. Find your own. If you need to find your own success story, go and take a risk today. Observe, listen, and practice. Observe everything around you. Listen to everyone. There's no substitute for experience. And please practice your art, whatever it is. If you want to be a blogger, practice it. If you want to be a photographer, practice it. If you want to be a cricket player, practice it. If you want to be a businessman, learn your art. Practice makes perfect. And finally, actions speak louder than words. Let not your words convince somebody who you are. I know people now for more than 20, 25 years. I haven't talked to them for a very long time. In 20 years, maybe 4 or 5 times. And I still believe in them because their actions always communicate to me. I don't need to talk to them. I know who they are. Success comes out of what you demonstrate and not what you talk. That's why when I go to certain events and I keep quiet, because there's no reason for me to talk. Talking gets me busy for no apparent reason. I only want to talk when I want to share. But when I want to perform, it's my actions. It's not my mind. So I wish for everybody to decide today, to this very moment, use this occasion of this talk to change your lives and to change it for better. Because if you're a better person, you will help me become better. I need you. I need your help. I need you to hold me and take me to the other side. But if you're weak, if you're not focused, if you don't take risks, how can you take me to the other side? I need you to start taking that. And I need you to change. And I need you to change now, because Allah says in the Quran, "La tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun." Do not die until and unless you're in the state of pure iman. That means up until the time of your last breath, you have time to change. Change for the better, change for the good. I wish all of you a lot of success, a lot of glory, and a lot of struggle, because that is what life is all about. It's about struggle. Get used to the struggle, then you will get used to the hustle. Once you get used to the hustle, you will know how to do all the things that you need to do. All right? So now if everybody has some questions, please feel free to ask. And Shehzad, our moderator today, will help you kind of get that through to me. Right, Shehzad?
Yes, inshallah. I've got a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
How do we tackle economic downturn and resulting lack of opportunities in India?
How do we what, sorry?
How do we tackle economic downturn and resulting lack of opportunities in India?
Okay, so if somebody reads history and the Indian history itself, right after independence, India went through a very torrid time, a very terrible time. There was drought, there was hunger. People have died out of hunger. And people who didn't die managed to survive. Those who managed to survive learned to live and compete with the resources they have. So you do not need to ask what you need to do. First, you need to understand what needs to be done and what resources do you have to do it. So this platform today that AMP is open for you, which is webinar online training, besides other skills development programs that they do, can give you certain skills to do that. So if you want to participate in economy, create marketplaces. Allow consumers to have the same product and services at lower cost. That is how you can contribute to economy.
The other question I've got from a brother from India: due to work pressure, I can't spend quality time with my family. How do I go about it?
Okay, so I remember when I was working for one of my employers, I can't mention who it was, I was traveling all the time. But when I was not traveling, And when I was back home, I would not do any other thing besides be with my family, with my kids, with my wife. Um, Quality time does not have a quantity, actually. So one needs to understand that when you say quality time, it does not mean 24 hours. It does not mean 6 hours. It does not mean 3 hours. It means the quality of time that you have given. If you have given 15 minutes of quality to your family, trust me, they will treasure it more than 24 hours of just wasteful time. So it's about the quality that you give in time. So whatever time that you have given to your family, make sure that that time is filled with good quality.
There are no other questions, Dr. Lavai.
So I have a question on my Facebook page. So I'll say the question and then I will answer it. So Muhammad Saif has asked me to be how to stay focused. Right. To stay focused, you need to have a calm mind. When you have a fidgety mind, when you start jumping from this idea to that idea, when you start getting troubled, when you start getting worried, when you start getting nervous, you can't be focused. So you need to start being focused by being calm. So if you want to be calm first, then you can get focused. When you're excited, you can't get focused. When you're nervous, you can't get focused. So you need to start doing some breathing. Okay, long breath in from your nose and out, at least for 2 or 3 minutes until your heart kind of settles down and then your brain allows you to think.
There are no other questions, Dr. Lavai, but we will be sending a document to all the registers who've been registered today for our first web talk. If they have any further question, they will send it back to us on email. We will surely, inshallah, forward it to you. And we hope that you will be able to report it back so we can forward all the answers.
Great, lovely, and I think it was very nice sharing this today. It's a completely new talk that I have developed over the last a month or so, and I think it will help people understand the concept of change and why change is important and why we all need to strive towards change as people, as families, as groups, as communities, as a nation. We need to change, and we always need to change to the better. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for listening to me and watching me today, and all the best to everybody.
Thank you so much, Abdullah Bhai, for being a part of our first inaugural web talk for AMP. It was really a pleasure having you with us, and we hope to continue this in future, inshallah, as well.
So Shehzad, thank you very much for all the pain you went through for helping me set this up. So Shehzad receives a lot of credit for doing this today because I almost messed it up, but he got me back online very quickly. So well done, Shehzad.
Thank you so much.
Right. Take care.
So everyone, we are ending this webinar for today, and we hope that everybody who was part of this web talk enjoyed it. If you've missed it, no worries. We've got it recorded everywhere. We will inshallah get it downloaded and uploaded on our social medias. Thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Have a good weekend. Assalamu alaikum.